There we go. Hey, San, hey, and welcome to my live stream at Pixelpia Internet for Beginners. Today, I want to talk about social media and how it impacts us and our human interactions. The reason is that I read a very interesting article the other day about positive and negative effects that social media has on us humans. And since my focus very much is social media on my channel. Hi, Gana, welcome. Hi, Top Notch Food Vlogs, welcome. As I said, since my focus is very much on social media, I thought this would be an interesting discussion to have when about how we use social media, if it's too much, too little. And hi, Gina, welcome. And not only focus on the negative. The negative usually gets a lot of attentions, but there are also a lot of positives. And I would like to have a more balanced discussion about how social media impact us as human beings, but also how it impacts our social skills. So, my first question to everybody that's in the chat right now is your very first reaction when I ask you, how does social media impact us and our interaction with other people? What is the first thing you think about? For me, since I am living here in the US now and my family is in Sweden, where I'm originally from, my first thought is always how it makes it possible for me to reach out and stay in contact with them. How fast it is, how I can just directly talk to them. Let's see what some things here. Top Notch says some are good and some are bad. I agree. And I think maybe sometimes the bad takes over in the discussion about social media. Like everything else, people have a tendency to look at the negative. Hey, San, hey, gamer, how are you? And welcome. I have written down some things, and I would like for you in the chat to share your thoughts about this. And I will start with some of the positives. And first on my list is, as always, to keep in touch with people, to stay connected. And I think Ghana agrees with me. She says it keeps me connected to people I won't normally talk to. And Top Nut says, especially kids are the ones that follow that negativity. Yes, they are. My second point I wrote down on my list here, I have my notes next to me, was the ability of social networking. How you open doors to opportunities and to connections that you probably wouldn't have if it wasn't for social media. If I just think of myself and how my YouTube channel has created new contacts for me that probably can be positive in the future. My third point on the pro side is how speedy it is. Speedy communication. And that is not just to talk to my family in Sweden, but when you need to get information out, it is fast. And we will come back to this a little bit on the con side too, but the speed with which you can get out information, and for example, just how you get on your phone all these amber warnings and things like that, that would, back in my days, when someone was missing, they might show up on the milk carton with a little picture, but that took forever. So the speed with which information can be spread can be positive, but it can also be negative if it's misinformation. My fourth point is how it can break isolation for people that otherwise would feel isolated. Maybe because of where you are in geography, or you maybe have a handicap that, like my sister-in-law that's not hearing, she can use social media, and Facebook is one of the places where she spends a lot of time because she can communicate with people without relying on her hearing. I also wrote down that you can promote social change. And of course, personal growth, which is, hi Tommy, welcome. We are talking social media and its effects on us, on people, on society. Personal growth, for me, social media has been really important. I have learned so many new things thanks to social media. Just me sitting here live streaming is part of it, but there are so many things I have personally learned. And my next point is lifelong learning. We don't have to depend on a physical school to learn something. We have it all on our computer, and that is not just social media, that is also internet in large. How it can be used to influence or be influenced. And last but not least, to have fun. So that's my list of pros. Now I'm asking you in the chat, if you should say one positive thing in your life without being personal, what is the most positive that social media has provided to you in your life or in someone else's life that's close to you? My list was very much from my own point of view, but I guess it all depends on what life circumstances you live in. Gina Bina, you say an outlet. That's interesting. How do you use social media as an outlet? What does your include? I can't see it. Let me switch over. Gonna say it's helping me achieve my dream of making art as a career. Absolutely. That's... Oh, okay, Gina. You're home alone, and especially during these times with the virus, I guess for many people, social media has been a big relief. I'm so used. I have lived here now since, let me think, 0203, somewhere around the shift there. So let's say '03, January '03. So I have lived here for 18 years now, and I'm so used to having my family that far away. So, but for people that not used to that, this year we have behind us have really focused on social media's possibility to still stay in close contact with people. Okay, let's talk about some of the negative parts. The first thing I wrote down is it can be very addictive. And I, for one, sharing your cat stories with the world is very fun for me. I agree, Gina. For those, if there is anybody here that don't know, Gina is doing great cat stories on her channel, Gina Bina Vinci, where black cats matter. Exes can stalk you all day and night. Well, they can. But you can also prevent that. When I'm talking about addictiveness is how much time we spend on social media. It can also trigger insecurities, and this is especially with the younger people, I think. If you think of something like Instagram and Instagram models and how we portray what ideal is, how you should look, how you should feel, what success means, defined by social media. That is an aspect that's negative. And the fear of missing out. If you don't check your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter several times a day, what do you miss? YouTube needs a group for addiction to social media. I think addiction is a big problem, not just when it comes to social media, to be addictive. And I think that you can replace one addiction with another. And being addicted to social media can be very negative, especially if you are younger. I'm lucky I'm so old, so I have eased into this over the years. Another point I wrote down on the con side is information overload. I talked about the speed of spreading information, but we also have the negative side of that. It's just as fast to spread misinformation as it is to spread important information. And I think since we get so much information, you can get information fatigue and maybe lose your ability to look at it critical. Then we have, of course, privacy risks. And as Ghana was talking about, people stalking you. We have cyberbullying and all of these negative effects. We have the cancel culture that's always up there. And then we have the risk that it can, if it's really bad and someone is really addicted to social media, that it can be a replacement of real social interaction. And now I'm talking about before 2020, before we couldn't socialize the way we used to. That if you are too addicted, you might replace real social interaction with interaction online. Thank you, gamer. I don't feel splendid. My hair is a mess. Here is another negative, Gina. You are right. Trolls. Yeah, Gina, I got the haircut, but I still need to color it. And then when I read this article, there was a lot of studies that shown that especially younger people in school ages, if they were very addicted to their social media, they got lower grades at school. And that is alarming. This numbers was before the virus, and it will be very interesting to see studies made after things get back to normal, how this massive online schooling has worked for our kids, and if that has had an impact. And then I wrote down that it's draining our time. It's so easy, especially, I must confess, I do this a lot. I start to research something for my upcoming tutorials, and then I get down the rabbit hole on social media, and time just flies away. And all of a sudden, I have spent hours doing things that was non-productive. Guys, if any one of you would like to come on, let me share the link with you. Hi, DJ. Welcome. I'm just sharing the link here. If somebody wants to come on. How are you today, DJ? So, if I ask you in the chat, can you give me one negative? Let me see. DJ has been cast to play Gandalf in the upcoming Lord of the Rings. Oh, gamer, what do you get all that from? If I ask you, hi, DJ.
Hey, dear.
Did you see gamer's comment?
Yeah.
Okay. If I ask you in the chat, give me one negative aspect of social media, what would be the very first thing you think about? DJ, you start since you're here. Social
Yeah.
media in big terms.
For me, it would possibly be that you could find fake news so easily. And there's a bunch of articles about stuff that's not gonna happen, and that's was like wildfire.
I agree. There's misinformation or fake news or whatever you want to call it is one of the really important backsides. But now the teacher in me wake up. I think we can also use this to teach people critical thinking. We have a lot of material in social media to use to teach people how to read between the lines and try to figure out what is true and what is not true.
Yep.
Ghana says doxing is the first thing she thinks about. Gamer says having to constantly witness people's insecurities and need for attention.
Kind of.
Yeah. But then I must ask Gamer, having to witness people's insecurities and needs for attention, is that insecurity and need for attention created by social media in the first place, or is that a need that lead people into social media? Because as I talked about earlier, how social media can trigger those insecurities among people, especially young people.
Yeah, but if we won't get into that, I possibly think social media amplifies that need, because without social media, people still have that need to have attention and be the focus of the topic. I mean, people will do stuff.
I came down to say goodbye. DJ, I'm here. Kiss me,
Hey,
my little
Gamer.
friend. Kiss me, DJ, and do it quick. Look at him. Look, he's blushing. Oh, I'm taking him
No,
straight out on a date when I get to those shores, Pia. How are you?
but anyways, yeah, I think that need has existed for some time without social media amplifying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But it's that need for attention, because one thing is what kind of attention. I mean, I agree, we all need attention in one way or another. But has social media created a climate that even negative attention is better than no attention? Is that where we are at? Or
Social media has created a climate where it's okay to make expressions that are just pathetic. And then these expressions have influenced modern society because people get offended so easily because they expect to be able to go online and go, oh, I didn't get served in Walmart today. I don't know, just because of some weird reason. I don't know. Because I was wearing the wrong shoes, and then there's like a massive outrage about it, and then I hope you can see where I'm getting at. I hope I don't sound too nasty. I genuinely believe that social media creates a lot of issues on top of not just attention seeking in terms of look at me. I believe it does it for races as well and religions. I believe that it causes division. I'm talking of places such as Facebook, by the way, not YouTube.
but I can also see the other side of it, where
Of course.
social media have opened door for a larger inclusion.
Yes, I agree.
I mean,
But you asked for the worst
I,
from me. That's what I was. If you asked for positive,
see that Pixelpia, and I think that inclusion social media gives us is considered good, but I think there's a part you reach where it's not the good that you want it to be. I mean, take celebrities for example. On social media, they could say anything that influences anyone in the slightest bit, and they give that celebrity either positive or negative attention, whether that be just being a fan of what they do, or on the negative side, that could lead to stuff like stalking them and other illegal actions to get that attention from celebrities.
But I'm so old, so I have been active on internet since the mid 90s. And I have seen, and back then we had no social media. We had not even a Facebook. And I have seen things change. And what I am mostly worried about is that it has gone to the extremes on both ends.
Yeah.
It has gone to the very positive in many cases, but it has at the same time gone to the very, very negative. And we don't have, what's missing is what was commonly respected when internet was in its baby steps, was what was called netiquette, how you behave online. That covers all the middle spaces here between the extreme negative and extremely positive. That doesn't exist anymore,
Yeah,
in my opinion.
yeah, but and I have no skill with these, but I do believe, and I may have heard somewhere, but message boards in the 90s were kind of the old social media. So my part with this is without message boards, it might have just been you and a few friends, but those messages may have got off social media and began rumors in real life, and I do feel like that is still prevalent in today's society.
And what is the problem then? Is the problem that you are anonymous, that you can do and say these things? I mean, as long as I'm not on camera, I can be anybody.
Yeah. I mean, you could, and I think that could also be negative as well because living into cyberbullying, you don't know who's doing by name, so you can't confront that specific post. So I'm just going with this. There was a lot of positives and negatives to social media in the whole. So, possibly, I try to aim for that middle ground.
What, now I'm thinking on the top of my head here. What is the problem? Like Gina said, like old school kids have respect and new age kids are entitled. And that is a common thing we often hear. But my thought immediately when I hear comments like that and similar to that is that the kid's fault? Or who is to blame?
I mean, if we talk about the new generation, I think the kids are learning it from their parents, but yet that's going down the line that it's multi-generational, and you learn from what you see. So if kids see their parents posting negative stuff on social media, they will think, oh, it's fine to do that.
But then I'm thinking, because in this scenario, I'm probably generation grandparent. So I'm thinking that the parents we are talking about that didn't teach their kids all the things that we wish they had, they were taught by me as a teacher back in the days. The students I had back in the days are now parents. And what did I do or miss doing since these parents didn't live up to the expectations I had of them when they were kids? It's hard to explain what I really mean here.
I mean, I think I'm getting what you're saying, but I mean, from all I know is it's a cycle. Someone with someone, but and not told you or any of my teachers poetry, but this can just go back to the days where gossip was widespread in our school, and it just goes through the grapevine, which is basically what we have today in digital format.
I mean, the problem, now I know what I wanted to say. I don't think that these kids are different than the kids before them or the kids before them. I don't think that is the problem. The problem is how much faster all this moves around. Gossip has always been there. People have always gossiped. When I was a kid and we started gossip, it took weeks before it had spread. Now it takes minutes, if not seconds, before everybody has heard it. So I don't really think that the kids are that different. I think we are still human beings with very much similar feelings and needs, but I think what we have missed, Gina says, kids have too much freedom now with cell phones. I think what we have missed is that when all this developed, when the technology came, when social media started growing, when it went so fast, so we didn't have time to educate ourselves and then educate our kids about how to really use it. And I think that is maybe why we ended up with this polarization between good and bad when it comes to internet and social media. Because I think the parent generation that we are talking about, I was lucky. I have always been very interested. I was part of programs very early in the 90s for developing internet for kids at school and all of that. And I have always been very active when it comes to internet, social media, all of that, learning new things. But I think most of baby boomers and the next generation, it got too fast. And we didn't have time to learn. And we didn't have time to think. It just exploded.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. There was just, whoa, so many years, so many plus years past the creation of the internet now, and it has definitely picked up in the last 20 years. So I agree with you that it's definitely something we haven't taught, which, you know, how do you teach something that doesn't exist yet, which is what I go to.
But you know what? Even if we talked about all these negative sides, I wouldn't want to turn back time to before we had all this. And I think that we might be at a turning point. It has been uphill. It has been very polarizing. We have all these, I mean, the cancel culture, I think, will be what finally turns everything around and start people to think in a more responsible way of how we use social media. Because I think there are, my generation, definitely, us baby boomers, we are a lost generation. We just got train wrecked about this, even though I might be an exception because I'm a little nerdy. But I mean, I think that we are now at a point where we can't talk about knowing, not knowing, because now everybody lives with it, even baby boomers. We live with all the aspects of social media. We take part in it. And I think we have reached a point where it's time to start being more responsible for everybody. And I think even though I hate this so-called cancel culture, I think it is important for people to start thinking. I think the cancel culture itself might help people think about what is happening. Hi, Dylan. Welcome.
Hey, Dylan. I mean, yeah, the cancel culture trend, since I've been on TikTok, I have heard a lot more about it, and, you know, I do think cancel culture needs to be ended itself, because there was things go on being imposed that weren't problems when I was in school, but the problems now, like, for example, Dr. Seuss book.
Yeah. Yeah, but like everything, I mean, cancel culture as a phenomena is, I mean, if there are real reasons to cancel people, even though you can't cancel people unless you're talking about taking someone's life. But if you're talking about being no longer popular, if there are real reasons for stop fan follow people because they have done something, or I mean really a crime or whatever, then they are worthy of canceling. But this looking for reason to cancel people, going back in your history and looking for reason to cancel people, it's crazy to me.
Yep.
And I think enough people will start feeling that this is too much. This cancel culture pushes people, hopefully, I hope so, pushes people to be a little bit more critical about what they see and read and hear on social media and on internet. So maybe we can find a more balanced relationship between human beings and social media in the future.
Yeah.
And I hope that when we finally get out of this isolation period because of the virus, that people are so longing for real personal social interactions that in itself will have a positive effect, that people will want to meet people in real life. I mean, that was what is Gamer saying here. Those who disagree with cancel culture get instantly put in the right-wing section. It gets made political. That's another issue. That we have a tendency to politicize things that shouldn't be politicized.
Yeah.
Cancel culture is one example. Everything you can, oh, this is also hard. You can say that everything is politic or politics is everything. But what I am talking about is the concept of being human with faults, with good aspects, with being a well-rounded human being. And I don't think there is such a thing as a perfect human being. I think every person has aspects or things in the past that are negative. I know I do.
Yeah.
And that is how we learn. That is how we grow. And I think that is where we are with social media. Social media has gone from being a baby to being a toddler and try to do different things. And right now, I think we are in the teenage phase of social media. And we will soon grow into an adult relationship with social media. Does that make any sense, DJ?
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
in the chat?
Yeah, that makes sense to me, and I totally agree with that.
Gamer says humans can be bad but also beautiful. Hopefully the beauty will show more in the future. I hope so. But I also think that unless unless I do something really bad, unless I go out and harm somebody, but I have something in my background that was bad, but I didn't kill anybody. I'm not that bad. I mean, that's not all bad as I see it. I become the person I am because I learn from what I have in my past. I learn from other people. I learn from my own past. And without my past, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Yep. And it all goes back to the old saying that people aren't perfect and you can't really make a perfect human being. We're all flawed in one way or another, and you just gotta deal with that. So,
And as long as I move forward and not keep on doing the same mistake, I have the right to be forgiven for what I did. Within, I mean, not if I kill somebody, maybe, but you know what I mean.
yeah, it has to be within separate specific days. Uh, that's kind of acceptable by, human culture, but not to the extent of taking another's life. That's
No, I mean,
separate.
that's why we have laws. If I'm
Yeah, yeah,
breaking the laws, that's not forgivable. But I mean, I have done a lot of mistakes in my life that I wish I hadn't. But at the same time, if I hadn't made those mistakes, I wouldn't be who I am today.
yeah.
So and
Man,
if I had kept on doing the same mistakes or same type of mistakes, then I shouldn't be forgiven.
yeah. Mistakes help you grow as a person, but keep making the same ones. You're not gonna learn from those mistakes if you keep making the same ones over and over again.
No, because then there is no growth.
Mhm.
Then you just repeat yourself without growing.
Yep.
And it's also, I think, also, maybe, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm really old. Sometimes I feel like I'm not old enough. But I mean, it's like when I think about where we are with internet and social media today, if if I if I truly, and I do believe we are teenagers right now with this, even though it has been 30 years, I don't think we are
Yeah.
adults yet. And but I think we are in teenage years going into adolescent, maybe grown up relationship with social media, and that we might find a middle ground where we can keep all the positive that I talked about. I don't know, you came in a little late, so I don't know if you heard all the positives that I had on my list.
No, I did not.
No, but I'm talked about keeping in touch, social networking, how fast you can spread the information, and
Yeah.
all of those, how
I
you can
mean,
promote social change and personal growth and lifelong learning and all of that. If we
yeah,
can
and
keep all of that and minimize the negative effects.
yeah, and I agree with all of that because as humans, we do need to be able to connect with each other. Social media helps with that.
And
But
can you imagine a year of social isolation because of a pandemic like we had
I
without
mean, yeah,
without technology?
I mean,
If we haven't had all this, if we haven't had the possibility to do Zoom calls or internet and social media,
okay,
how
yeah, that's going back to Bluetooth 1920s, 1919 when they had the flu pandemic. Oh,
yeah, 1918, 1919, yeah. I mean, they
yeah,
didn't have all this.
yeah. So, I mean, that if we were in that time, yeah, all of this, I mean, just be able to talk to people outside your area would not be a
No.
possibility at all.
And when it was at this worst point, you could just stay home with your family and nobody else. I mean, it's so there are so much positive. And I mean, I am a big fan. Okay. I am a big fan of social media. I use it a lot, a lot. I
Same
am
though.
a big fan of internet
Yep.
in general. And I have been a nerd since early 90s. I mean, that's me. So I'm maybe not the right person to look negatively at it
Yeah,
because
and honestly, neither am I because I'm a person who enjoys surfing the internet to learn and find new stuff. So for me, I see the negatives, but for me, there's a lot of positives that outweigh those. So,
but then the question is, what responsibility do I have? What responsibility do you have, DJ? All the people in the chat, Gina, Dylan, Ghana, Gamer, all the people that has been. What responsibility and what possibility do we have to make sure that the negative side that is there? I mean, even though I'm a big fan, even I know there are negative aspects of it.
yeah,
How can I be a positive source for people to use social media and internet in a more responsible human way? How can I spread a message to inspire people? Because I think we all have a responsibility.
yeah,
And I
and
think every single person must start with asking themselves, what can I do to be a positive resource in this?
yeah, that leads to the concept of community policing was, I mean, we all can police the internet, but it's a wide space. So,
But I don't know if it needs policing.
okay.
I think it's more about being a positive role model.
I think, yeah, that's definitely one thing that we all can do for the next generation is be a positive role model and show them, hey, you don't always, or you don't have to listen to all these negative things on the internet.
Absolutely. And I think one way is if we decide not to give any spotlight to the negative parts. If we decide that, I mean, I talked about the negative here tonight, and it's so easy to fall into that. But if we all decide that we will be the beacon for what's positive, what's possible, and what it can become, instead of focusing on the negative, that I think that will have a bigger impact than trying to, I mean, it's no way you can have an argument with someone that's fully or on the negative side.
Yeah.
You can't win an argument like that. If someone thinks that it is okay to spread rumor or spread misinformation and think that it is okay to say things like that, I can never win an argument with that person. It's not even possible. Yep, Gina has it. Do we want to be a part of the problem or a part of the solution? That's so right. And what I think the solution is, some of it is gonna just develop by itself. If internet and social media right now is a teenager, it will grow up. It's gonna happen. There is nothing we can do about it. But when it grows up, it's important that every one of us that's here today and that might watch this at a later point do their part of being a good role model.
Ow.
And I think one part is to have an open discussion on what it can be.
Yeah.
And try to focus on the positive. So now I can make an announcement. I have had a couple of days where I have been thinking about my live streams because I love doing live streams, and it's hard to find a way for them to fit in on my channel. I will keep on doing my Monday, Friday tutorials because that's what I can do to help spreading some good positive information on what we can use the internet and social media for. But I will also continue every Wednesday to have this live stream. And starting, let me quickly look at this quick schedule I did here. Oh, I have too many. Here we go. Starting next Wednesday, I will dedicate all the Wednesdays except the third Wednesday every month. The third Wednesday each month will be discussion, question and answer, and discussion about my channel and what you, my audience, want to see. If you have ideas, and I'm working on that. I was supposed to put it up on Friday, the one on Canva app. It will probably be Monday, because I had to cut out an important part about the presentation thing I did. So I'm thinking of finishing that up first and do the app on Monday. So that's coming, DJ. I haven't forgot about that.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that.
I have, and I have also started check up so I can screencast my. I don't have an iPad, but I have a tablet, so I can show both the tablet, the phone, my regular phone, and my iPhone. So you will see all three. I haven't forgot about that. But back to my Wednesdays. So every third Wednesday every month will still be the You in Focus, as I have called it, where we talk about things you want me to do tutorials about.
Yeah.
But every other Wednesday, I will have discussions like this. And I will try to, not today, I didn't have time, but I will try to invite someone as a guest each week, different people, and have it a little bit more prepared with points to discuss. And I will talk about positive things. Next week, I am planning right now. I haven't really figured it out, but I am talking a little bit about trends for 2021 on social media when it comes to the week after. I want to focus about things that is internet beyond social media, parts of internet that can be really positive, but it's not social media. There is some like web and other that's not social media. And then that's how far I have gotten in the plans. But that is my thought. So it's still, will probably be for a different audience that my normal tutorials are. It probably will be other people that are interested in the live streams, but I think it still fits within what I'm trying to do on Pixelpia.
Yeah.
And I hope by doing this that I can be a part of the solution in spreading a more positive way of relate yourself to internet and social media for everybody. What do you think? Gina seems to like it. Ghana gives me a thumbs up.
Yeah, and that sounds great to me. That's definitely needed. Just something that could really help all of us. So, yeah, I think that's good. Yeah.
Okay. Actually, today, and one thing I have said many times I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to stay within an hour for my live streams. We have done 1 hour, 9 minutes and 52 seconds right now. And for being me, that's not too bad, I must say. It's almost within the time limit.
Yeah, I have been given a lot longer on my live streams.
I have a tendency to go longer too, but I really, really want to try to keep them to an hour.
Okay.
So I'm so glad that you came on. and talked about this. It's an important topic. To everybody in the chat, I am so glad that you was a part of it. You was. That's my English, Swinglish. That you all were a part of it. And Gamer, I'm so glad you came on with your contributions. This is an important topic. And
Yeah.
I think we can all end this with Gina, who said, do we want to be a part of the problem, or do we want to be a part of the solution? I am part of the solution.
Yeah.
I hope you are too.
Yeah. Same am I.
And remember, never stop learning. Bye.
Bye.